Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of CAD 101. In this episode, I will demonstrate the use of certain AutoCAD functions. These AutoCAD functions serve to help you to draw with precision. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to select my line command. Let's say I want to draw this line in a particular direction. Let's say 45 degrees. Now, whenever you're drawing a line, you have to type the length of the line. But before typing the length of the line, you have to point it in the direction. By default, it has already been set to 45 degrees. Let me show you how to change this. To the bottom right of the AutoCAD software, you're going to see some icons. The first icon that I'm going to click on is the polar tracking icon. I'm going to right click on this icon, and if you notice, it's giving me some angles. It is already set to 45. Let's say I want an angle of 30 degrees. So I'm going to now direct this line 30 degrees. I'm going to type the measurement. Let's say 50, for example. Now you have to point it in the direction first, then type the length, right? And please note that the angles are in increments of 30. So if I want a 60 degree angle, I can also get it. 90, 120, 150. And please note that by default, AutoCAD is showing the angles in an anti-clockwise direction. So if I want an angle 30 degrees upwards from the west, it will not show as 30 degrees, it will show as 150. You have to bear in mind and calculate your angles as the need arise. Now, if you right click, you can go into tracking settings because there are additional angles that you can add. These are the default angles, and you can add new angles. Please note, when you click add new angles, you have to click new, then add the angle. Let's say I want a 35 degree angle. I'm going to type that, press enter, select that angle, then press OK. Now, the incremental angles have not changed. By incremental, I mean once you set an angle, it will go in increments. Like for example, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. So the incremental angles won't change, but the additional angle, it will now be reflected. So 35 is reflected, 30 degrees is reflected. Now, as you move the cursor along, you're seeing different angles, 49, 50, 51, but those are not definite, those are not specific. If you click it, it won't be exactly 53. The reason why you're not seeing 53.1, 53.2 going up is because my angle precisions were set to 0 decimal places. Now, once it gets to the angle that you have set, you will see the line. Or once it goes to the incremental angles, for example, 30 degrees, the additional angle 35 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, you'll see the green dotted line or dashed line. The incremental angles are set. The additional angles, they don't go in increments, so you won't see a 70 degree angle. You'd have to set that separately. So you use polar tracking, the settings for that, to set your angles. If you want to disable this, you can click and the blue highlight will go away, and now you cannot set specific angles. Right? I'm going to put that back on. You can also use the Ortho function that is right beside it. It has a 90 degree symbol, and what this will do is give you 90 degree angles only. Now, if you notice, once I've clicked Ortho, it disables polar tracking. Now, the next important function that you need is the O-snap settings. Let me go back to polar. The O-snap settings. These can work simultaneously with any of these. Now, let me right click this to show you what it is saying. Now, on a line, you can see the end point, midpoint, center. By default, your midpoint may not be selected. So let's say I want to draw a line that starts on the midpoint of this line. I am not able to do it. It's only showing me the end point. If you want to see the midpoint, you right click, you select your midpoint. Then it is now showing me my midpoint. Now you have to experiment with this, with the features. You have center, which shows the center of a circle, intersection, which shows where two lines meet. So you have to experiment. Now, if you notice, at some points it is showing me the end point, which is the square, and at some points it is showing me the midpoint, which is the triangle. It is represented by the triangle. Now, there are other things that it can show. You just have to experiment with the software as you go along. But the main things I normally turn on is the end point, midpoint, center, and intersection. That's for me. Now, the next command, the next thing that is there is what we refer to as snapping, object snap tracking. Let's say I've drawn a line here and I want to start a new line, but I don't want it to start here. I want it to start as a particular distance from this line. Without object snap tracking on, I'm not able to do that. With object snap tracking on, I can now select the line, position it. I've not clicked the mouse as yet. I've not clicked the mouse. Then pull it in the direction where I want the line to start. And the distance, I'm going to now type 20, as I want it to start 20 millimeters from that point. Once I've pressed enter, the line will start there. I could have just selected line, draw a line 20, that direction, press enter, proceed to draw the actual line that I want, then delete the first line. But that is more work. This is a very handy feature. Now, there are other functions that you can, there's also grid. You can turn off or on the grid. You can also change from model space to paper space, which I'll get to that in another video. There's also the scale function. I'll get to that in another video. Now, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you have learned a lot in this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.